Welcome to the Afterspin, opinions from thought leaders in our state. I want to ask John Hood and Chris Fitzsimon. Our state leaders were surprised and again disappointed when Apple announced it was not going to be coming to Research Triangle Park with their 5,000 jobs and millions of dollars of expansion. Yet another big loss economically for our state. I want to ask you your opinion of Apple's decision, what effect it has on our state, and what, if anything, North Carolina needs to do about it. John?
Well, the first thing I'll say is that it would have been neat for Apple to expand its presence. It has employees in North Carolina, but to expand its presence significantly in North Carolina didn't happen. People ought not to get too panicked about this, like this is the sign of something bad, or if it had come, the sign of something good. State economies the size of North Carolina are so large that even a company as prominent as Apple with several thousand potentially employee jobs, it's important for a region or a city a bit. We just shouldn't get carried away by how important it is either way. But of course, people are speculating about it. Some argued that it was political because of concerns about the HB2 lingering controversy or other political things. Even the 9th District congressional election fraud story I heard of Thursday. I think people need to calm down about that. It's possible, but it is unlikely that's primarily why these businesses make these vastly important decisions for them that involve their revenues and expenditures over 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 years. They had already invested heavily in Austin, Texas. It is perfectly logical that they were succeeding there. It's perfectly logical. I heard one of the best arguments from a business recruiter who was, I think, not necessarily involved in this one. His argument was simply, North Carolina has a great business climate, and Raleigh's a neat place to live, but most people who are in the tech business, they sort of associate Austin, Seattle, Southern California, Northern California.
Yeah, but Apple announced they were not only just going to go to Austin, but they were also...
They went to Boulder.
Yeah, I mean, several other cities.
Do you notice a trend that I'm talking about?
Yes.
These are all very hip cities, and as much as Charlotte and Raleigh say we're hip, frankly, they're not quite as hip as even a Boulder, Colorado.
So we ain't
just
hip,
the way it
Chris.
is.
The other part of it is this, though. We lost Amazon's headquarters. We lost Toyota Mazda's headquarters. Now Apple. Are we always going to be a bridesmaid, never a bride?
I mean, first of all, I think John makes a point about the size of our economy, that it's not the number of jobs. I do think, talking to some folks, and I haven't had a lot of conversations, but I have talked to some business people since the decision was announced. This one stings more than Amazon and the other ones.
Yeah, because we thought we had
Well, we thought we had it for a lot of reasons. Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, went to Duke. Was a Duke commencement speaker this year. I think a lot of people thought it was going to be announced last August. There is wild speculation about maybe behind the scenes they didn't get quite what they wanted from the legislature. There's talk of incentives and who was standing in the way. A couple of people have mentioned it's a very unwieldy process here with the Commerce Department, and we have the public-private partnership still operating, but the governor isn't wild about it because it was created by the previous governor. It's not clear what the relationship is. I think we'll find out more as it goes along. But the one thing that this is a little different about this one is I think a lot of people, when they heard Amazon, were like, oh, thank goodness. We don't want 50,000 jobs in the triangle. There's blah, blah, on and on and on. But I think there's something about Apple that would have given people believe it would have been more prestigious and would have kind of fit with our higher education with Duke and UNC and NC State and all the tech.
And in fairness, we are getting several 300, 400, 500 jobs.
Honeywell and now it's coming. Right. Well, people need to, again, think about the fact that businesses make these decisions, overwhelmingly for business reasons. And one of the more plausible theories that I heard just had to do with site availability. That for a variety of reasons, we didn't have quite the sites in North Carolina in the Research Triangle that these other places had. Literally places to put people because of other things that were happening in our local labor market.
Former Senator Clark Jenkins and I had a long conversation about this. He said, the thing was that down in Alabama, where Toyota Mazda ended up by going, that site was shovel ready. I mean, in North Carolina, none of the sites that we had all of the infrastructure in place, roads, water, sewer, gas, all of these things in place so that when a company made the decision, it would be ready to go. And he's advocating that we need to do that very thing.
But it's, again, important to remember that North Carolina has been very successful in recruiting business.
So do we need to get out of this race, Chris?
Well, no. I mean, I think I don't know whether we should or not, but we're always going to be in it because that's what political folks do. And I do think there are some companies that bring added benefit other than the number of jobs. But this isn't the end of the world.
All right. Well, thanks for watching the Afterspin. We'll have more video all during the week on ncspin.com.